Right, so we've now connected our program to the database. We now want to extract the information that's in there. We're going to use the SQL to do that, and you're familiar with the select statement from the work you've done in SQL, so you know a little bit about the select statement. What we're going to do is we're going to create something called a data adapter, and that will take information from the database. It'll place it in something called a data table. Okay, a data table. So let's have a look at how that is going to work. So in your program, you've opened the connection, you've made the connection, you've opened it, and now we're going to write an SQL statement to say, let's get all the book information from the books table. Nice, simple SQL statement. That has to be a string, so we create a string called, and let's call it I don't know, book SQL, and that's going to be the following command: select star, that means all the fields, from our table books that we'd created in our database. So it uses the table, let's see, our table books that's in the database. Okay, simple. And then we are going to make our adapter. So OLE, you see there it is, data adapter, and we're going to call it, I don't know, DA for data adapter, and that's going to equal, it's another object, so it's a new OLEDB data adapter. And now you have to provide it with two bits of information: the database you want to connect to get this information from, and the SQL you want to use. So SQL first, so that's book SQL, and then the data connection is the con, this guy here. Yeah. So that's it. We've made a connection, created a data adapter. Then that's going to feed us this information. Well, we need to store that information, so we store it in something called a data table. So data table results, I'm going to call it results, so that's okay, equals new data table. Again, it's all object orientated, so we have to instantiate everything. And then we need to fill that data table with the information from the data adapter. The way we do that, we just say data adapter dot fill and put the results into my data table results, semicolon. And there you have it. You've extracted the information from the table books and put it into a data table in your program. Okay, let's have a quick look at what the data table actually looks like. If we go back to this, so we've made this now, we've got this data in the data table. The data table actually, so we've done all this stuff, yeah. And what you'll have is a data table looks a bit like this, where every column is identified by the field name that's in our database that we've, in the query, and every row is a number. 0 is the first row, 1 is the second row. So it's a bit like a two-dimensional array. If you wanted to say access this bit of information that you've collected, you'd therefore say, because our data table is called results, you'd say results, row 1, column title, and that would give you whatever's in the row in the data table at that position. But we don't want to access a single field or even a single record. We want to see everything. We want to go and see all the data in this table. So we're going to process the whole table. So let's go back to our program. And this is how we do it. We're going to use the for each command. Okay. So we say for each. There it is. And now each row of a data table is, guess what? It's called a data row. For each data row, this data row we'll call DR for data row. In our results data table, we have to say dot rows. Okay, so that will process each one, and we're going to do a little bit of code now. What we're going to do for each one is display it on the console. Yeah. So in here we're going to write console dot write line open brackets, and then we're going to use the data row, and we're going to have to say we can't just do data row. We can't display the whole data row like that. We have to break it down field by field. So the first field that was in our database, and if you forget what the field names are, it's a good idea to open this guy up and you can see all the names of the fields here. So the first field I'm going to use from the database table I've extracted the data from is book ID. Okay, and we'll convert that to a string. And there we go. And then we're just going to simply repeat that for the other fields that make up one row of the data. So I'm just going to copy and paste that a couple of times. And I'm going to write as book name. And that's author. And I need one more, don't I? So Control copy, Control V, and put price. Okay, so that's the data displayed, and let's just put a console read line, a console read key, sorry, at the end so that we can see the output. Right, and there you go. So we've run an SQL statement, we've found the data in a data table, and we've gone through each row of the data table, and row by row we've displayed all the 4 fields. Does it work? Okay. Select without an E in it. There we go. Try again. So hit the start button. And there you go. First record, second record, third record. It's not presented very nice, but it worked. We've extracted the information from the database.